Well, that kind of thing. Top 5 things the CFP expansion needs to take head on. These are things they're going to have to deal with. You know, and again, number 2 on this list is maybe redundant by my rant, but we'll get to it anyway. Number 5, when you want the season to end. I think you have to figure out when you want that last game to be, that last night, that last showcase moment, before you figure out when the season has to start, which is part of the thing here going on with the Rose Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I think one of the things that they're trying to like tell the Rose Bowl is, I mean, there's a good chance that this calendar is going to flow through differently, and the Rose Bowl game may not be, you know, like the January 1st just may not be the day that we do these quarterfinals. And so if we have to change the calendar, then you're going to have to change with it. And that's what they're upset about. And look, if the thing is, if they have to move the parade and the game to accommodate that, maybe that's what they're going to have to do if they want that to be that way. But I know they want it on January 1st because that's the holiday. But, you know, things are changing in college football. So they need to figure out, does the season end on January 1st, maybe? I mean, no, that's one of the ideas they had. Well, they'd have to move it up earlier. And then they're going to
start the season in like July.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
because
championship games are the first weekend in December, right? The conferences. Yeah. Then Army Navy, and you wonder how that maybe gets affected. You would think that's still the only game that day, but again,
I mean, December is basically going to be a full month, a full regular season month for if you're a championship team. If you're going to be playing in the national championship, then you basically play an extra full month of a season.
Yeah, so
in December, but if you want to end by January.
I do think there's maybe too many gaps between the games.
The quarterfinal games is what I think they're talking about there. So that would be, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with that down the line. But yeah, they've got to figure out when the end is going to be. So if the NFL playoffs start on January 14th, you kind of, you know, we'll get to that in a second. The remaining bowl games, how do you work those into everything else? Not just your New Year's Six, but how do you work the remaining bowl games into the schedule in a way that can build excitement for the playoff? That's something that's going to be interesting to see because those aren't going away. You know, you're still going to get 7 and 5 teams playing each other and 6 and 6 teams playing each other because there's money involved in that. There's TV money involved in that. And this, to me, can be a way to make it better. But those games, you know, a lot of them are not going to be played on, you know, those highlight days like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day anymore because you probably need those days for the playoff.
Yeah, there's games after New Year's Day that just kind of trickle on or linger. You almost don't even know why are they playing games after January 1st. That should maybe be playoff only or semifinals, quarterfinals, whatever. But, I mean, again, lobbyists in the bowl games.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a college football fan, so, I mean, if games are on, that's great. But, I mean, I've never made it appointment television to see, like, the 4 o'clock on December 17th Bahamas Bowl between – name somebody
6 and 6 and 6 and 6.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, that's cool to have on in the background for the fans. I'm sure it's great to go to the Bahamas and all of that, but I think the remaining bowl games are just going to be what they are right now. Like, I mean, how you amp that up for the playoff, I don't really know. Like, because I don't know how the Duke's Mayo Bowl's going to, you know, get people who weren't going to watch otherwise to tune into the semifinals. And you can't have tie-ins in every single way, shape, or form just because there's just too many teams and too many conferences involved. But I mean, I suspect with the remaining bowl games, not much is going to really change there. You're just going to have some that, you know, are no longer available because now they're going to be serving as a quarterfinal or like that. I actually think, respectfully, I think a better question is: are these first round games at college sites? Are those bowl games?
Interesting, you asked, Craig.
No.
Number 3.
Wait a minute. You're talking about the quarterfinal round games?
How many?
Like the first round, like it's in Tuscaloosa. Is that the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's good.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
I believe so.
Well, then that obviously that rips away like another 4 games that otherwise teams would be in. So everything besides that would pretty much remain the same.
So number 3, following your question, is how many on-campus games do they have?
I think there's 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, but do you? There's 4, but I would think there might be a drive for some more on down the line because once this starts going, the first rounds are going to be there, right? In the first 4 games. Well, if you had a bye and you're, say, Ohio State, you don't get to have that home game.
Well, but you get a bye.
Right.
But you you may
But
want
you would
that.
like to have
But
that.
you'd like
sure.
to have that home game too.
I'd like to have my
That's what I'm
cake and
saying.
eat it too.
So that's and that's what the powers that be do. They're
Okay,
going to find a way to.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, the Texas high school football in Division 6A, the first and second, the top seeds in each division get to host the first game unless something weird happens.
So you get the
That's
bye,
kind
and you also want a home game. Do you want us to also just give you a straight trip to the national title game?
But
I mean,
well,
at
in
some
some
point,
cases that happens.
But see, and that's look. You guys are making very rational points, but none of this has been based
No,
in
you're right. There will be
rationality.
some that are arguing
so there's
about
gonna
it,
be
but-
that's going to be one of the things that they have to work out, because right now they can say, like, listen, you're going to have a first round. These teams you're going to have the first round bye, great, and then these games are going to play out on campus, and then there's going to be something like, well, why don't we
I
get
can
one
already
too?
see Alabama complaining that they've been in the semifinals 3 years in a row and they haven't hosted a single game in Tuscaloosa. I know that's coming, but yeah, I mean, the bye is also an advantage, so they're going to have to figure out something there, because you can't just load it up for 4 teams to have every, I get that they're the top 4 teams or whatever, but getting a bye is you're in the next round without playing. Like, that is your benefit. So I don't know that you also then give them a home game, but yeah, that's, like you said, something they're going to have to figure out, because I can see that Ohio State complaining that they're in the playoff every year and they've never hosted a game in Columbus because they're always a top 4 seed.
Don't be as good.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, but that's
Lose another game.
That's
you
one
only,
thing.
you lose the 3 games.
Yeah. Number 2, a silly parade. Moving on. I've already made my point about this.
Please, God,
Although look, this video is going to be separate when it goes on to watch. I think they need to figure out something with the Rose Parade, the Rose Bowl. All that has to be very much more flexible and not be holding this up because of the parade and the parade only. It's like they can say it's about the game all they want. It's not about the game. It's about the parade. They've made that clear. The CFP committee does not care about the parade. The parade is not what they're trying to fix. The playoff is what they're trying to fix, so they care about the game, and they need to get to that. So,
Okay. Please don't
see
bring
my
that up
previous
anymore.
work
Please
about
go to
parades.
1. Please go to 1.
Number 1,
Camera
the
1.
NFL schedule.
Yep.
This is something that is their own fault. They had, like, for a long time, the NFL kind of had, I don't know if it was a gentleman's agreement, but they were just like, we're going to have our games these days, and you guys have your games these days. And then eventually, billionaires said, hey, if they're not going to play on these days, then let's do that. And took them over in December. And they got their appointment television watching, and they've got Saturday games in December, which college football gave up. So now they're either going to have to go around it or go up against it. And maybe try to flex a little more muscle, whatever muscle they have. But this is going to be the hardest thing for them, is to
I don't think they're going to give back a piece of turf.
I doubt it.
They want to conquer the world.
This is college football's fault. For the first time the NFL did a game on a Saturday, they should have been, well, that needs to be a one-off.
Yeah, I mean,
in December, so.
I don't know. I don't know how you go about doing that. I mean, NFL is going to have their numbers, and they're always going to be great. But I mean, count me as somebody that there's a NFL playoff game going on. It's entirely dependent on what the matchup is, just like college football, on whether or not I'm going to watch it or not. Now, if college football's got a better game on in the time frame than what the NFL's putting on there, then I'll watch college football and gladly do so. But I know I'm in the minority with that, and I don't know how exactly that would work. But, yeah, the NFL, while college football is just la-ti-da, the NFL went and stole a bunch of territory and a bunch of TV territory, and the college football world was just like with everything else, very slow to react, and kind of put themselves in this situation where a lot of time to perhaps play some games is blocked off now, unless you want to butt heads. So I'd be interested to see, like, if you threw on Ohio State against Ohio State, Alabama versus a Browns Steelers divisional round game of what those ratings would look like.
In December now, that's not even going to be the playoffs. That's the regular season. So you're talking about a regular season game.
That's true, yeah.
A regular season game on December, let's just say 10th.
I'm sure the NFL will still have 7 million more viewers, but, I don't think that Ohio State and whoever it has said, Bama, couldn't have a really healthy number. But, yeah, obviously you would get dented a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. That's for the TV folks and the big paid administrators to figure out.
All right, Paul, thank you very much. Sports Tonight, this show condensed at 10:30.